Hey guys, I'm Hakuho. Welcome to the Frontier Fan VOD review, and today we're going to be looking at some of the best plays you guys submitted. I think Spell Thief is good versus melee matchups, but a lot of people now, especially in like other regions, are just going the Targon's item anyway. So just because you can outpush cannon waves really fast, which is really good for laning, and it makes you a bit tankier. It's kind of like playstyle dependent, but generally the Targon's AP item can help you get more lane prio compared to say like Spell Thieves where you have to keep trying to trade. So I'd say generally the Targon's one is just better now just because of the extra lane pressure it gives you, whereas Spell Thieves is more, snowbally. But it doesn't really change the matchups too much. I think Zilean as champion is always like pretty strong in lane. If you're versing any kind of melee, you can, just do this walk up, bomb, pre-prio. At least for this lane match, but I don't think Zilean and Fearless is that strong of a lane because generally Zilean wants like some kind of follow-up. I think it's fine once he has the grab gun if he can land like grab auto into stun and then you can double bomb is really strong. So I think for this lane it's mainly just like waiting for that opportunity. Yeah, that's a really good trade. I'd probably say just careful about. I think it's fine to go for trades like that. Just be careful about tower aggro if you're versus any champion that can stun you under tower. But I think it was fine to look for. If Fearless was ready to follow up, he could have probably killed Varus there. This is more so you guys just overextending. You probably have I don't know how much gold Fearless has, but I feel like he shot enough for his base. So instead of like staying for the extra wave to try and poke, you guys can get early base and come back to lane faster, which generally helps your team more. You can come back to lane, do an early dragon, get vision. So at least if like your teammates didn't like full mute all, you can try and like talk with them about base timings. Generally lane plays Zilean is you're just poking, so there's not really much to go over. I'd say just be careful about it if you verse any kind of poke champion like Thresh or Nautilus if they can get on you and kill you, since any kind of range matchup where you fall behind is pretty much doomed. I'm gonna look at some team fights now. Because Zilean as a champion is mainly like, you pick him to scale and just team fight well. This is a really good double bomb. Yeah, again, just be careful walking up versus any champion that can stun if you're walking up the tower, since you have to kind of waste your ulti, which is, should be good for team fights. Ended up being okay since they kind of overextended chasing you, so they actually lost out more. As far as your item build goes, I don't think Mobies is that amazing on Zilean. Like I think Swifties even are better now than Mobies in most cases, and the CDR boots are also really strong on Zilean because you just want cooldown reduction. So Mobies is really situational. Generally, I would say it's better if you want to like roam around more, just get Swifty boots because then in team fights you're also still fast. You don't really need the extra move speed as much, I would say, for roaming compared to other champions. This game's kind of hectic since you guys haven't really like gotten a strong like 5 team fight off, so I think it's harder for Zilean as a champion to like show his strengths. I think with Wukong it's really easy. If Wukong ever like comes and just forces a fight with his ulti, you can just outbomb him and then pretty much just win the fight right off that. I'm not sure about the ghost item since it's not that effective, I would say. It only really helps you for like face checking, since you can't do it yourself, so you can check with ghosts, which is it's fine. But I would say if you want to try and go these items, instead of going air, you should just go glacial, and then you don't really like have a useful summoner until you finish the item. But if you want to go this build, glacial is always really OP. I'd say generally going something with like more utility might be better. So I think in these cases when the team fight's already lost since they already killed Jax, I don't think you guys should try and save this guy. Just accept your losses and save the Baron if you can, instead of trying to like help somebody who's probably gonna die. It's kind of hard to know, like unless in that case like it's obviously lost since Jax died early, and you guys aren't gonna win that fight. So instead of giving all of your lives, you can just let 2 of you die and still have 3 Barons up. This is just hard. You guys don't have ultis, so I think Zillion without his ulti is not as useful as a champion. So it's really hard to play, especially when if you don't have any like kind of stun setup for your double bomb. It's harder to actually like do stuff in team fights. But looks like yeah. Okay. They overstayed after they won the fight, so they ended up losing a lot. Not sure why they're engaging on a Trundle, since he's probably the hardest one to kill out of all of you. Here I would say just be careful about splitting from your team like that. Like, you know, it's a team issue, since you guys kind of split two and two, so it was really easy for them to fight that. So, you know, if you can, just always try and make sure that your teammates are staying on the same side for like Dragon or Baron contests, because you know, you guys killed Pantheon for free, so that should have been really easy for you guys to win a team fight if you were just together. This one's just hard. I'd say generally just be careful if you don't see anybody on the map, but Pantheon was already like coming behind you guys, so it's hard to really do anything about it. But especially off resets, late game, you know, people will try and do cheese stuff like this, so just be aware if people aren't showing on waves at all. I think Night Style is kind of a useless item on Zillion in most ranged champions, since the boss is not that effective. I think it'd be better if you get something like, you know, a Crucible for if you're versus Varus to save people from his ulti. You could even get like early, like, yeah. If you go like Crucible early instead of one of these other items, it can help your teammates a lot, especially like for getting mid prio. You know, if you're versus Varus mid, he can always ulti you guys and probably kill you if you wanted to, since you know you'll be stunned for a while, or at least force out your ulti. And I think you don't want to trade Zillion ulti for Varus ulti. I'd say like yeah, Crucible, even like Ardent Sensor if you're going Airy is okay. It's not amazing, but it's, you know, something you can do. This is like the same thing as the last Dragon fight, just nobody died from it, but be aware if people are, you know, splitting up when they're running away, because, you know, they can still force on you if they want, if they really want to. This is really good. This is really good. You know, just stalling their backs while Jack's backdoors is really OP. Looks like yeah, you already used your ulti. That's fine. But yeah. And if you have a split pusher that's just like, you know, non-stop pushing, it's really good to, you know, make them come for the objective and just force backs. Or just cancel them and try and end the game if you can. This is the same thing. Like, a lot of these team fights are just really hectic since you guys aren't actually together, so it's hard to actually play them out. You know, you have like you have a guy 1v1ing top side, a guy 1v1ing mid, and then you guys are trying to 3v3, but you don't actually win this since you don't have enough damage. You know, so Aphelios can't actually like, get through the Poppy, Taric, Silas. They all heal too much and they're too tanky, so it's more of a team issue, like not being together for fights. And you know, this is generally what makes people lose games, is like they try and team fight when people aren't grouped, or like the people that should be grouping aren't actually doing it. So it's more like communicating with your team to make sure that they know what you need to do to win. I'd say at this point, it's just you guys just don't have the damage to actually win. You know, Jax was kind of the only win con. At this point, he would have to go like backdoor or just split push to the end. But yeah, so like generally, I would say the issues this game are mostly just team fights, like not being together and not on the same page, and eventually, you know, Poppy, Size, Taric were just too strong to actually like do anything versus. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.